Hi all, so today by request we're going back to basics again, this time to look at the basics of prompt engineering and how best to use it. So prompt engineering is how we ask a Gen AI application a question or request it to generate content. Now it's the language of the future, but thankfully it's our natural language, which is great, but it's important that we know how best to use it in terms of our upskilling and considerations for working with machines now and more so in the future. And ultimately, the better we are at prompting, the better the results we'll get back from the AI models. So here's how to write a great basic Gen AI prompt. First up, give it a role. Tell the model to act as an expert in a particular field. So say, for example, accountancy. Second, be very clear on what you want it to do. What's the goal? For example, write a blog post on how changes in national insurance contributions will impact SMB businesses. Then set the audience. Tell it who you intend the reader to be. The audience in this case might be business owners in SMB or accountants themselves looking to stay informed. Then give it a helping hand and add in your value. Now to stress, if we're asking a GPT model to create the whole article, then we've really got to question what value are we adding ourselves. People could simply do this themselves. So here, this is where it becomes your document, and I want you to do two things. First up is to ask the article to focus in on the topics that you want to stress and add your opinion to. For example, impacts on payroll calculations, impacts on P&L or cash, and then stress that there may be a need to take expert advice. And ultimately, if this is being used as an article to generate sales leads, it's important that forms part of the structure. Next up is adding your expertise. Here you can offer your thought leadership, be the expert in the field. Again, make it your document by adding in some free text that says, I believe the changes will mean this, it will impact on, it will result in, and my advice would be. And again, this is where it becomes yours. We're not cheating. We're not asking Gen AI to do all the legwork. We're giving it the information we want it to focus on. We're just simply asking it to top and tail and be the grammar police. And ultimately, it saves us heaps of time. And let's not forget, this is what these tools are about. It's about time saving. It's not about taking human out of the loop. It's about just helping us and assist us. And don't worry too much about the grammar or the spelling. Throw your views in. Let Gen AI do the rest. Then set some guidance and restriction that you want it to work to. So use simple language with no jargon. Or maybe you do want it to be slightly more technical and industry terms and jargon in there, but perhaps ask it to explain each one just for the avoidance of doubt. Next up, define the format. Set the level of content. How big do you want the article to be? 1,500 words, 6, 7, 8 minutes of reading time? Do you want it to be in short summary sentences or long paragraphs? Do you want it to use bullet points, numbering, subheadings for key points? And also, do you want it to include any tables, graphs or charts or quotes? Also, you could ask it at this point to add any links to sources. So if there is a regulatory piece of information, it may just help you reference back to that in your final article as well. And ultimately, summarize it with a close, and going back to that point earlier, the call to action. Next, set the tone. Is this a formal document? Do you want the tone to be serious, informative, authoritative, or is it fun if the subject allows? And finally, and this is the killer one, is ask it to ask you any questions it needs to shape a better article. Now here, the model will be looking at multiple answers. Don't forget, these models are based on huge large language models, so it will likely have many different options of the response it can give to you. By putting this question in, it will then allow you to tailor its content and its final message slightly. This is really important. It's where most people go wrong in using Gen AI tools, and it gives what you think it needs to be, but it just ends up a meandering and confusing tale. And one final point is, remember, you are not American. And if you are American, as you were, great. But for us Brits, there is nothing screams I used AI to write this than lots of Zs instead of Ss, missing Us in certain words, and our subtle differences in the use of grammar. So add the final prompt in for good measure. Provide the responses using UK spelling and grammar. I know a lot of AI experts who are missing this one, so you're already ahead of the majority. I've put the prompt to this script in the description. Copy and paste it, give it a try, play around with it and tweak and refine it in your next GenAI requests. As always, click like, share, follow for more tips on how we all stay relevant ahead in the future of us.